I'm Stan and I was wrong. I'm singing the Stan wrong song. I shouldn't have taken that chance. Now here's my remorseful dance.
Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. It's been an interesting last couple of months. Initially watching these Democrats in complete delusion and denial, but of course, as we know, even for pretty much the most delusional people, eventually after hitting rock bottom, many end up seeing the light, at least to a certain extent, and so it's been interesting watching many of these leftoids who initially were doubling down on the insanity and just pushing the typical left-wing tantrums, watching them slowly come to the realization that they're totally wrong. You know, after the last few months of mindless left-wing outrage, after all the fear-mongering and all the screeching tantrums, I guess at least one of these nutcase leftoids is finally coming to the realization that Trump once again is right on yet again another issue. This time talking about the closure of the Department of Education. It seems as though a very unlikely figure here, that's ABC The View's Whoopi Goldberg, has had a major epiphany moment as she just admitted on national television, essentially agreeing with the Trump administration, although reluctantly so, that states and local municipalities should probably be the ones accountable in terms of handling education, not the federal government. Hell is truly frozen over, although of course a broken clock is right twice a day, but ding ding ding, once again after all the meltdowns, all the emotional hysteria, it turns out that we were right. Who would have seen that one coming? Let me show you guys exactly what's going on. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. Alright folks, so just take a look at this moment.
What we have to always do, regardless of who you voted for, you still got to pay your rent, you still got to take care of your kids, you still got to take care of your business. And maybe some of what's happening, like, you know, they're trying to take apart the Department of Education.
Yes.
Maybe that is a good thing, because maybe it will force us to make sure that our kids actually get what they need. Maybe it'll force us to go to our state and say, listen, I want to make sure, since you're taking all this money from my taxes, I want to make sure that my kids get exactly what they need. I don't have to wait for the government to do it. We can do it. This is now in our hands. This is in our hands, and it's going to be tough, and nobody wants to do it because it's a bitch. But you know what? If it comes down to your survival, this is what you got to do. You got to take care of what you got to take care of.
I'm thinking the exact same thing after watching that Jon Stewart clip, where like I said in the last video, at the ripe age of 62, he realized that government is inefficient and can't freaking get anything done. Yeah, the reaction is, welcome to the real world, Whoopi. You're finally starting to get it. Personal accountability, local control, not blindly trusting Washington to magically fix all of your problems. You're finally understanding, at least slowly, the federal government doesn't care about your kids. Centralized education policy has failed for decades. It's bloated, it's inefficient, it seems to cater to the administrative class, and most importantly, it's detached from the people that it's supposed to serve. Not just detached on the issues and the concerns, but I mean physically detached. It's too far. It's not local. It doesn't understand the areas. I mean, this notion that a group of bureaucrats in Washington can centrally plan education for probably roughly over 100 million people at the time is completely insane. And obviously, the solution isn't more bureaucracy. It's not expanding the current department that's been failing for decades. The solution is localism. Let communities decide what works best for their kids. One-size-fits-all federal mandates have destroyed public education, pure and simple. All they've done is siphon taxpayer dollars to the bureaucratic class and continue to fund the same programs that have failed, and in order to compensate for all of it, they've inflated test scores, changed the grading systems. Meanwhile, kids can't read or do basic math. And you know, Whoopi Goldberg said one thing that I really want to focus on a bit here. She said, and I quote, maybe it'll force us to go to our state government and demand more from our taxes. Yeah, well, you think? What a stunning revelation, Whoopi. I guess it took you long enough. Again, I find it wild to be coming to this realization in your 60s and 70s, but hey, better late than never. But actually, she identifies a very, very big problem on the left. For too long, Democrats have subscribed to this lazy, smug, virtue-signaling mindset, especially the more successful elitist Democrats. You know, send a fat check to the government and then pat yourself on the back and tell everybody how much of a good Democrat you are and how much you care about the children. I pay taxes. I pay even more taxes. I'm such a superior human being than you. But that's not civic engagement. It's completely delusional. Paying taxes does not equate to fixing problems. You need to start asking where the money is going. You need to start demanding results. You need to start holding the people in power accountable. And California is the perfect place to have this conversation. The state that, of course, Whoopi Goldberg lives in. The holy grail of big Democrat government. The Democrat utopia, as Gavin Newsom tries to describe it. But what's the reality? Gavin Newsom has spent untold billions on progressive programs and delivered nothing. Take the homelessness crisis, for instance. The state has dumped billions of dollars into the issue, and what have Californians received? Third world conditions.
Under bridges, stuff like that. Oh yes, alley that goes all the way back.
I mean, that's what the average person in big California cities deals with. Needles, feces, tents, crime. In the richest state, in the richest country on the planet. And nobody seems to be asking questions. And now that Republicans are doing it, which by the way, they're actually targeting Gavin Newsom's state of California with their latest investigation.
Republican, MAGA-aligned United States Attorney here in Los Angeles, Bill Asaley, he just launched a federal probe investigating exactly where California's homeless dollars are going. The FBI and IRS are going to assist. Asaley estimates $24 billion in homeless funding statewide over the past 5 years, much of that spent here in Southern California.
We will get to the bottom of it, and if we find that any federal laws are violated, we will arrest and prosecute those individuals involved.
Governor Gavin Newsom and the chair of the LA County Supervisors tell Fox they welcome Asaley's investigation. However, LA Mayor Karen Bass, who says homeless numbers dropped by 10% last year, she says she doesn't want the investigation to be, quote, a fishing expedition.
Well, now that Republicans are looking into it, Democrats are so blinded by their partisan tribalism that they advocate against transparency investigations and audits. I mean, you Democrats ought to ask yourselves, why can't we have nice things? Especially with the amount of money that you spend, especially in California, the richest, biggest business state in the union. Well, you ought to ask yourself why Gavin Newsom now, again, is looking for another $3 billion.
Gavin Newsom says the state short on funds for its Medicaid program known as Medi-Cal. The state expanded the program to cover undocumented immigrants. The governor asked lawmakers to approve another $2.8 billion in loans on top of a $3.4 billion loan issued last week. So California now making up a $6.2 billion shortfall in Medi-Cal funds, the money meant to keep the program properly funded through June.
The realities are the realities. You have to balance budgets. We balance our budget. Revenue is holding up. I don't see anything significant along the lines of what some have asserted, but I do see the need to make adjustments and changes broadly in the Medicaid system.
Yeah, I wonder why Gavin Newsom is strapped for cash. Maybe it has something to do with their latest launch of a program that would provide free healthcare for illegal migrants. Yeah, that's where your money's going. Illegals, NGOs, political consultants. Not you, not your kids, not the schools. I mean, keep in mind, this is the same California that ranks near the bottom in public education. Despite having more tax revenue than most countries, you pay more and you get less. And then these politicians have the audacity to tell you that you're not paying enough. We need more taxes. We don't have enough funding. That's the same grift that every Democrat runs with, right? We need more money. We need more funding. Look at the squalor. Look at how bad everything is. It's because we don't have enough money. Meanwhile, they've got more money than they know what to do with. The question people ought to be asking is, where's the money going? That's one of my biggest issues with these left-wingers. They seem to be perfectly fine signing the check, but then don't really follow up past that. And the truth is, that's being manipulated. The Democrat machine preys on people's emotions. Give us money for the kids, for the poor, for the climate. And then they turn around and dump that money into grifter NGOs, nonprofit slush funds, signing fat checks for the party cronies. It's time to snap out of it. And really, the solution is quite simple. Elect conservatives who don't believe in this big government central planning nonsense. People who genuinely want to balance and manage the budget. People who will actually audit the system, cut the waste, and put American citizens first. The reality is, there's no such thing as infinite money, even though nowadays the Federal Reserve might beg to differ. But come on, taxpayer dollars, they're a finite resource. You can't save the world's poor masses, especially not if you can't even take care of your own citizens. So yeah, it's time to look into foreign aid and cut it down. It's time to stop these programs that fund illegal migrants and illegal migration, or these programs that continue to further enable homelessness. It's time to be responsible, and most importantly, to hold leaders accountable. Start asking real questions, and stop subscribing to this notion notion that you should just sign a blank check to the system that's clearly robbing you blind. It's time to usher in the era of smart, small government and start focusing on local government, because clearly the federal Washington machine, especially over the last couple of decades, well, it's become an unsustainable beast. Anyways, that's pretty much what I got for you guys on this one. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.